Hey, I'm Dax Holt.
I am Alicia Renee. We're the hosts of Podsauce, your podcast discovery show. This one over here got to sit down with Ellen Pompeo, the Ellen Pompeo. Grey's Anatomy, Ellen Pompeo.
By myself, too.
One of the highest paid women in entertainment, Ellen Pompeo.
So I get this exclusive interview.
I heard you the first
with
time.
Ellen Pompeo about her new podcast, Tell Me, which I had to do by myself because
It's very aggressive. You guys need to check it out. It was amazing. Ellen, save me, sis. Okay? Come get me. Because this one, check it out,
you're
guys.
gonna love it.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Number one, I have to start off and say congratulations. 18 seasons of Grey's Anatomy is a remarkable feat. I feel like people that are outside of TV may not understand how truly incredible that is, but congratulations.
Thank you very much. It is truly incredible if you know how TV is made. I agree.
It really is. Now, when you look back on these 18 seasons of Grey's, is there a plot line or a story that stands out in your mind as some of the best TV you guys ever created?
Sure. There's a lot of them. Yeah. I would say one, but it'll get me in some trouble. We don't want to re-bring it up. So I think I won't say my favorite of all time and the best episode of all time because we don't want to mention that name again. But there's many. There's several.
There's several, because I would say when I look back, can I tell you one of my favorite?
Sure, of course.
The bomb in the guy.
Yes.
That had me on my seat, on the edge of my chair. I mean, great TV. But anyway, I digress. I do have to say, though, after 18 seasons, I'm sick and tired of the Emmys playing with you. I'm going to start a petition right now. You need the little golden statue on your mantle because I'm going after the Television Academy and I'm making it happen, Ellen. I'm telling you. No, in reality, though, do you want an Emmy to be recognized for all your hard work? Or at this point, it's like, who cares? It's a statue.
Yeah, I mean, definitely like in the beginning of the show, it was much more important to me.
Yeah.
And then my priorities changed a bit and it became less important. I mean, of course it would be nice to get an Emmy, but I think like how I think about the Emmys and all awards, the Emmys specifically, because it's, different medium than movies, is, they really give them to new shows. So if you don't get an Emmy in your first couple of seasons, you really won't. So it's interesting because I look at it as it's really, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's easier perhaps to do a great job with brand new material.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to keep doing a really good job and keep bringing it with stuff that you've been doing forever. In my opinion, that's the harder task, right?
But you've been doing it. You guys have all been doing it. And I think that's the true success of Grey's Anatomy, honestly. And with all these rumors flying around with whether or not there'll be a 19th, I know you can't answer that. However, I do want to know, when you are done with Grey's, will there be movies in your future, like Netflix type stuff? I'm just curious, is that where you're going to look to go next?
I think definitely, for sure. I mean, probably not movies. I don't really have a movie career. And I think I've said this before that our business is quite separate. We don't, we sort of, if you're a TV actor, you're sort of pigeonholed as a TV actor, and streaming has changed that dramatically for us. Thank goodness, because before, I being on a network show for so long, you'd literally be doomed. And that definitely is not the case anymore. So I probably wouldn't do movies per se, but I probably definitely will do some streaming television, most likely. And I have a couple of sort of entrepreneurial endeavors that I have that I'll be rolling out in the future, the podcast being one. So I'm just kind of trying to, play in some different areas and do a few new things, but I'm sure I'll act again. Yes. And I am developing something right now. So we'll see if that's meant to see the light of day. But I'm trying to do a few different things to keep it, mix it up a bit.
I like the little teasers. It's great. So, you just did mention your podcast. The podcast is Tell Me. You just debuted it. Congratulations on that. For
Thank
someone
you.
who hasn't listened to the podcast, can you give us a little synopsis of what it's about?
Sure. Well, there's no specific theme other than I just want people to tell me their stories, right? I'm just inviting people on who I find interesting, who I think have ideas to share, thoughts to share, positivity to share. It's a lot of authors from books that I read, few, pop culture people. I just really wanted to put some positive messages and ideas out to my fans. It's really, people have been supporting my TV show for 18 seasons. It's a really long time to be getting consistent support from people. And I really am very grateful for it. And a lot of my fans are young women. And I thought, how can I give back? That's sort of what I'm reflecting on in the past couple of years has been, how can I give back to the people who have supported me so faithfully over the past 18 seasons. And so I'm trying to do good things with my platform and do things that are positive and have a positive impact on people. So the podcast is just a fun little thing, podcast as a producer, podcast is like a new area of media, right? So I just thought it would be fun to get into producing something else. I produce TV pretty much every day. And this is a new form of producing. It's producing a completely different medium. And so I just thought it would be a fun exercise to try to learn a new game, see how this podcast thing works, and try it out and see if people respond to it in the same way, and just to learn a new skill, produce something new.
Well, people are already responding to it well. I see everyone's talking about it right now. Who would be your dream guest, though, to have on there? Because I think that is always a really interesting question to ask someone is, if you could have anyone in the world, who would be the person you'd like to sit down with on your podcast?
I mean, that's an easy one. Michelle Obama. Come on. Isn't that who we all want to sit down with?
Absolutely. I would love to have her on. Okay, here's one other thing, because now that you're in the podcasting world, do you yourself listen to other podcasts? Is there any podcasts that you would recommend to other people to check out?
I do. I listen to a lot of different podcasts. I get recommendations all the time because now that I'm in the space, I'm really interested. That was another sort of thing that I wanted to do with my podcast, is possibly give a bigger platform to other people who have been in the podcast space longer than me, who have been doing it before me, and maybe don't have the blessing of such a big audience. I wanted to sort of shine a light on them. There's a podcast I love called Asian Enough that I love. I love Kara Swisher, who does a podcast called Sway, and she has two, Sway and Pivot. Okay. Those are really my favorites. And then I love podcasts for my kids, actually. On the way to school, on our drive to school, we have something in LA here we're very famous for. It's called Traffic. And sometimes the drives to and from school can be quite long. And so I love, Yara Shahidi does this great podcast. What's the name of it, Marina? Cultureverse. The Cultureverse is a great podcast. It's storytelling for younger people. And it mixes all different sort of, backgrounds and sort of mythology and storytelling for children. I really love listening to Cultureverse with my kids.
No, I love it. I think recommendations of podcast discovery in general is huge right now. Everyone loves it. So thanks for those recommendations. One thing, every time I see your face, I know it's going to sound silly, it's Grey's Anatomy, but also Taylor Swift's music video. And I don't know why, it's that scene. It's like iconic, you walking in. Have you seen any other music videos that popped up recently that you were like, that would have actually been a really fun music video to also be in?
No, it's funny. I grew up watching music videos, and I grew up in the era of MTV when MTV, I remember MTV being like this brand new thing, right? We would run home from school and we would watch Madonna videos and Prince videos. But I really don't see music videos much anymore. So no.
What kind of music do you listen to?
Hip hop and R&B primarily.
Okay. All right. You got a favorite song on the radio right now?
No, but I'm super excited for Adele's album.
Well, one last question, because I know we're running out of time, but I did want to ask you, you have made, and you said this on Jimmy Kimmel's show recently, that there's a lot of little girls who are running up to you on a daily basis and they love you, and you've made such an impact on so many women around the world. Who do you look up to? Oh
my goodness. I look up to so many people. but I think, Michelle Obama for sure. Yeah, I think Jane Fonda is incredible. There's so many women doing so many important things and saying so many important things that even the younger women, they're just really standing up for themselves and taking a stance that I certainly didn't have the guts to take when I was their age. So I really there's a lot of women. I think Melinda Gates, I just read that she's launching I think a publishing company to publish books written only by women. There's so many people, and and I'm proud of the guys who are doing important things as well. And right now, I think I admire all our healthcare workers. Absolutely. Because I'm not going to call them heroes, but they're really working through some very challenging times. And they, I think, have the hardest obstacle right now. Their job is the hardest. So I admire anyone in the healthcare space right now.
No, I completely agree. I do, it made me think right when you were answering that question, is there any advice that you would have given to yourself at a younger age? Like looking back now at your career and at everything that you've done 20 years ago, is there some advice that you would give yourself?
Sure. I would believe in myself a lot more, and I would not let people dictate to me what they thought was possible or not possible for me. I would listen to that a lot less.
Well, be sure to check out Ellen's new podcast, Tell Me. You can download the Odyssey app to check it out. Thank you, Ellen, for your time. I appreciate it.
It was great to meet you, Dax. Thank you for the time. Ellen. I really appreciate it.
I'm going to get her that Emmy.
Listen,
I'm doing it.
Let me tell you something. You know what she does have, though? Racks. They back the Brinks up on her,
yeah,
so I'm sure she's fine.
I want her to be able to stack the cash next
under
to a little
Emmy?
Trophy.
Fair.
She deserves it. 18 seasons.
18 seasons.
Not a single nomination.
I am a day one Grey's Anatomy-er. Is that the thing? Is that a thing? A Grey's Anatomy-er?
You should have done this interview.
I was working. We got 5 jobs, Mon. I got 5 jobs. Okay?
Sorry, I just had to rub it in one more time.
I know. It was very aggressive, and I'm going to let you make it. But I love her. I met her one time. Did I tell you that? I met Ellen Pompeo.
Did you have a nice 10-minute conversation with her?
I met Ellen Pompeo, ignoring all of that energy, at the Four Seasons brunch, and she was so delightful, just as delightful in real life as she was in your virtual interview. And you guys know what you're watching. This is Podsauce. That's how you get them, girls.